Hi, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Lil Neuman, the host, and today our guest is Tracy Walsh, Community Manager, Relay for Life at the American Cancer Society, and our co-host, Susan Salomone, Executive Director of Drug Crisis in Our Backyard. Thank you for being here, Tracy.
Thank you.
And as always, Susan, it's great having you right by my side.
It's great to see you, Lily. I feel like we haven't been together in a long time.
It's been a little bit. So, Tracy, look.
Tracy,
welcome.
welcome. Thank you for coming on.
So, Tracy, what do you do at the American Cancer Society?
Well, I'm here today to tell you a little bit about what I do and also a little bit about the American Cancer Society. The first thing I want to say about the American Cancer Society is that it's your American Cancer Society. The American Cancer Society is owned, run, really, and by our volunteers. We are the largest nonprofit volunteer organization, I believe, in the world. And it is our volunteers that really are the heart and soul of what we do. But I am what is known as a community manager. I organize the Relay for Life events in Putnam County, in Patterson and Mahopac. But I am also really the local face of the American Cancer Society. The American Cancer Society is big organization, and I am the person who puts the local touch, the touch, I'm the person in the community that folks turn to.
So when they have, like, let's say if they need a resource, they have your name, they can call you if a family member has cancer or diagnosis, so you can really give them the resources and help guide them where to go.
Right.
Okay.
So what I really appreciate the invite is we're much more than a fundraising. And we are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for anyone who is being affected by cancer. That means if you have just been diagnosed, or if you're a caregiver of someone who's been diagnosed and have a question. And the way that we make ourselves accessible to everyone all the time is through our 1-800 number. And it's really the main reason that I said yes to come on the show and to chat with you lovely ladies, because I want to make sure that everyone in Putnam County is aware that 1-800-227-2345 is our hotline, and I'm going to repeat it a few times.
Absolutely.
During this program. And people call, last year on Thanksgiving, over 400 people needed us.
Wow. What kind of questions do they? What do they?
Well, it depends,
what kind of help?
And I do want to say that when you call the hotline right away, you get a person. So you do have to answer one question, and that's, if you are recently diagnosed or have a question about cancer, press 1. If it's anything else, press 2. So once you press 1, you get a person that's right there. And you can ask anything, and that kind of person triages you. So if you are newly diagnosed and you have a question about diagnosis, they can move you on to a nurse.
Got it.
If you have a question about your insurance, they can get your information and reach out to an insurance advocate who will help you deal with the insurance companies. If you need, if you have a question about nutrition, then we can send everyone nutrition information. We'll send it to your house. If you are just recently diagnosed with breast cancer and have questions, we can set you up with a one-to-one peer counselor. That's our Reach to Recovery program. So a myriad of things that we offer. I mean, I do want to have a conversation. I am very proud of what we do, so I could go through every single thing and take up the whole time. But let's chat a little bit.
How long have you been with them?
Well, I like to say that I've been with the American Cancer Society since 1999. I was a teacher before then, and then, like everyone else, cancer knocked on our family's door. And my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they told us he was going to be okay. And then they said, "Oh, it's." So he did not have his happy happy ending, and we lost him very shortly after diagnosis. And a friend of mine said, why don't you come and learn about this Relay for Life that we're doing? And I didn't think I was ready, but it was really where I needed to be. So I was a volunteer, and then a part-time employee, and then a full-time employee. So really a long time.
Yeah. So you cover Putnam County only, or is it the Hudson Valley?
I am in the Hudson Valley. My Relay for Life events are in Putnam County, and since I spend a lot of time cultivating folks to be in the relay, you know, I'm also kind of the face of what folks need help in Putnam. But the New Windsor office actually does cover all of the Hudson Valley. It's our regional office. So.
And where is that, New Windsor?
It's right over the bridge. It's kind of Newburgh.
Newburgh,
Route 300.
okay. Yep. So there's the corporate office is where?
That is the regional corporate
office. Okay.
Is in New Windsor.
Okay. Where is the national corporate office?
That's in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay.
That's in
All
Atlanta.
right.
And you bring up a point. You know, a few years back, we closed some of our local offices, and folks were concerned. But it was really out of good stewardship. It saves a lot of money to have one regional office. And the American Cancer Society is not an office. I'm out in the community, in the hospitals, where people need me, you know, and in this day and age, it's not really about the brick and mortar. It's about being available to the volunteers and constituents who need help.
So what does your day look like?
What does my day look like? Well, I'll wake up in the morning and check my emails and see if there's anything that I have to do. I do serve as part of a team, so we'll have a team meeting and a team check-in.
On the phone?
On the phone, or on a WebEx on the computer.
Right.
I do travel up to the office, you know, also several times a week. And then I'm really out in the community, you know, talking to different businesses, doing things like this, going to Rotary where I met you.
Right.
And
hospitals, you go to hospital.
I do. We have what we do is we have patient navigators, and they'll go into the hospital, and you know, so for example, someone's coming in for radiation. How are you? How are you feeling?
Got it.
Do you have any questions? And very often they do.
The patient navigator does this.
The patient will have questions. Yeah,
the patient navigator does that work.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And we can fill out a form to help women get free wigs. We have at the hospital, at Putnam Hospital too, it's called Look Good, Feel Better, and it's a program for women and teens, if they need it, who are going through chemotherapy. Licensed cosmetologists meet with small groups of women, and they teach them how to put on makeup. And, you know, believe it or not, one of the things that really will be a lady's breaking point are when her eyebrows fall out, because we know how to do lipstick and we know how to, so they teach them how to wear scarves, how to kind of formulate natural looking eyebrows, what kind of color foundation will help you if you feel ashy. And it's amazing because the women walk in and they don't really even maybe feel like going, and they're very cautious. And in the middle of chemotherapy in that room, what you hear laughing.
Right.
You see camaraderie, people, honesty, like that is not a good look for you, you know, and they leave and they have pep.
That's right.
They feel better.
That's
they
great.
Look good.
That's great.
I've
never heard of this patient navigator before.
Yeah.
So, are these volunteers?
They are volunteers, and really, volunteers are the heart and soul of what we do, and we're always looking for more volunteers.
Tell the audience.
So that is part of our quest. Is, you know, perhaps somebody wants to do Relay for Life, but maybe somebody else, you know, another thing that we have, if you have time in your schedule, we have something called Road to Recovery, which is so important in Putnam County. We have volunteers that have clean license that we do a background check on, and we try to match up a volunteer with a patient who wouldn't have a ride to treatment.
Got it.
Very often they're elderly.
Right.
And what happens is, you know, families are great, but you sometimes need radiation every day for
Right.
6 weeks.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like, who's going to bring, mom
Right.
next Thursday?
Right.
Well, if you call us, we try to match up a volunteer who can get mom to the appointment, wait for her, and get her home.
Wow.
great.
So how many
So
volunteers do you have?
We need so many more volunteers for that.
How many do you have? Do you have an idea?
You know, I don't really have a number, because what we do, another way that we streamlined, is it used to be folks would have to call the Mayapack office to get Mayapack rides. You call the 1-800-227-2345 number. You say, I need to coordinate a ride.
Yeah.
And they have folks who work on that and
Got
draw
it.
from the database. So I can't really say to you, I have 6.
Right.
Or I have 4. But we do know that we are actively recruiting volunteer drivers in the Hudson Valley. You know, down county in Westchester, you've got a better bus system.
Right,
Not that we
absolutely.
don't now have
Right,
a much
right.
improved, with the Putnam
Right.
Transit, but it's still difficult.
It still takes an hour
Right.
and a half to get from one
to
point,
another.
the furthest point in Putnam, to the last stop.
Right.
Which is very far, especially if you're not feeling well
Right.
and you have to go for chemo.
Right.
Correct.
You know,
and you're
so
sitting at the doctor's office,
Right.
you're sitting on the bus, so
That's
it's
very difficult.
much
So-
nicer,
So what do you have, like a department in the American Cancer Society that handles the volunteers? Or
We do have a volunteer care center, and again, that's the 1-800 number. We really try to keep everything localized. So if you came to me and said, Tracy, I really want to help out with the rides,
Right.
I would tell you a little more about it. I would give you an information packet, but I would have you call the 800 number, and they go through the proper steps of checking your license, checking your insurance, because we're very careful. We don't just send,
Right.
yeah,
Anyone.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
not Uber.
Well, nothing wrong with Uber.
Nothing wrong with Uber.
If I really had somebody stuck, I might call Uber. So there's nothing wrong with Uber.
What's interesting about it is that the model sounds fabulous, and the volunteers are a little difficult to manage. So I'm kind of trying to get to that. Like, how are all the volunteers being managed? Like,
Well, it depends on what so the volunteers that I directly manage
so you do
are my
okay.
Relay for Life volunteers,
all right.
and that's my purple, my purple family. These
Okay.
folks are, many of them have been doing Relay for Life since it started in Mayapack in 1999, and it started in Patterson in 2009. So really, they are really my Relay family. I don't like to call them. They are my volunteers, but they're my Relay family. And I manage those folks directly and help keep them motivated. And it's hard to be a volunteer.
it is.
And make them feel appreciated and
Keep them busy.
work with them. Yes, keep them busy. And their main goal is fundraising. But we do try to lead with mission, because I always say, if you know what we do,
Right.
you're going to support us.
Right.
And a lot of volunteer education, because we ask them to go out there and fundraise. So
Right.
we have to arm them with the knowledge of, it's hard to ask for money, right? It
certainly is.
It's hard to fundraise.
Yep,
So
it's hard to
we
fundraise.
we try to really arm them with, this is why you're asking folks to do what we do.
So do they work year round for the relay?
We kind of, I feel like the Rose Bowl parade, I give them a little break, and after relay is over, but they're still out there right after the event, kind of gathering up all the donations. And I ran a little contest the last 2 weeks, because I said, this is just not American Cancer Society money, but I got a little gift card for them, and I said, I know you're busy, I know, but before the holidays start, I need you to sign up your team. That's just really all I need you to do right now. Sign up your team. And they're great people, because I went on last night, I said, I know it's Halloween, but this is how many people signed up. I'm going to give the gift card that I bought, raffle it off at 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden I had 7 more teams.
Wow.
They're really, but they've all been touched by cancer, and they know why they raise money. I mean, we've seen, people ask me, it seems like so many more people.
That's right.
The truth is, statistically, there's been a 23% decline in
Okay.
death rates from cancer since in the last 20 years. And folks say, but every day. And what I try to say to them is, I hear you, and I'm, but we're diagnosing people earlier.
Got it.
Which means that they
might
have
be
a
a
better
chance.
prognosis. We're catching it before it, we didn't, I remember when my great-grandfather was little, I didn't even know what he had. You
Right.
didn't say the C
That's
word.
right. You
Nope.
didn't.
It was
didn't.
There was
hushed.
stigma. There was shame.
It was
Yeah.
shame.
That's right.
And
So, are there more people getting cancer?
it
seems
that's
that
what-
there
it
is.
does
That's the-
feel that way, but in the past, folks just died and you didn't know why. And some cancers have decreased. Some, environmentally, they've been on the rise. There are really, I hope I can remember them. There are 5 things that everyone can do
Okay.
to decrease their cancer risk
I think
by
we have a graphic, but go on.
by almost 50%. They're not easy things,
Right.
but they're not impossible. Keep your weight under control.
Say diet,
stay out of the
exercise.
sun.
Right.
Get your exercise. Get your screening. Oh gosh, whatever that 5th one is. Let me think. But really, it's sunscreen, getting your tests, going to your doctor, getting your
Eating right.
physical, and keeping your weight at a good level. They really, really are 5 things that everyone can do.
So those are protective factors for.
Well, it's so
cancer.
much easier to prevent cancer than it is, they're like colon cancer. We have an initiative now. It's called 80% by 2018. And we're really making a push to have 80% of the population that needs, we're going to say it right on TV, colonoscopies, right?
Right.
To get them.
Right.
Because this is a cancer that we know you can prevent.
Right. By getting checkups.
You get your tests
Right.
at the right time. They do the prevention, and the money that you save, we can really put toward research. The American Cancer Society is all about research.
Yeah.
We partner with a lot of other local organizations and a lot of wonderful organizations in Putnam County. And the bottom line is we all are stronger together.
Right.
And we need to focus on research so that we can find all the cures. And, folks, I've heard the skeptics, but really, I think when the cure comes, it's going to come, and it's going to be like dominoes. Cancer is researched on the cellular level, and when they figure that out, we've already made great progress.
Yes, definitely
great
have made
progress.
great progress.
Yeah.
I lost my mother-in-law to pancreatic cancer. She was diagnosed in September. She died in January. And my father, colon cancer, which had metastasized to his liver.
Right.
And he was diagnosed in August. He didn't get any treatment, and he died in the following year, August.
We've come a long way in 20 years.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
Yeah.
From keeping the shame and keeping the person and not mentioning it to being here to talking about it. And the website's wonderful. I went on, there's a global picture that you can see. All the countries, all over the world, the cancer rate, what the different cancers are. Because I was going on there for this show, just doing some
Thank you.
research.
Well, we tell folks to go to
great.
cancer.org. If they're, I think everybody understands this. Folks, they say, why a hotline? And I said, let's not call it a 1-800 number. It really is a helpline. And sometimes it's hard to talk to friends or family members, or you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you really just need to ask somebody that question, or you're not going to get back to sleep. The other safe place to go is cancer.org. And if you go on there and you're recently diagnosed, or a loved one is recently diagnosed, you can put the diagnosis into the search bar, and it comes up in very step-by-step process. Here are questions to ask your doctor.
Got it.
Because that's so important.
Oh, yeah.
You walk into the doctor's office and you're like, you know, you don't know.
Because I was diagnosed with cancer in 2005, pancreatic cancer. Got it, the diagnosis on a Monday. My doctors, by Wednesday, I was in Columbia Presbyterian talking to. I didn't even ask any questions. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know anything. Just, what are we going to do? He said, got to operate on Friday. That was it. And it was encapsulated, so I got lucky.
We got very lucky.
I got very, very, very lucky.
But
Knock
people-
on wood.
Yeah,
Knock
let's
on
find
wood.
some wood.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, but people have questions, and it at cancer.org, you go step by step, and you know, here's, if you have this, you know,
Right.
well, what stage is
Right.
it, or how do I know, or what are the treatment options?
I didn't ask anything.
And knowledge is power.
right.
It's very
That's
important. So
And it's nice to know. I mean, I didn't even know that it was out there. And I think there are a lot of people that don't know that this is out there, so that you can go and get the questions, what questions to ask your doctor.
yeah.
No, I'm sure. We didn't know. I didn't even know a lot of what you
Right.
were talking about when we were at the event we were at together. That's why, you know, I thought it would be great for you to come on here and let the audience
thank
know that this is available,
That's
the
right.
helpline, and all the services that are offered. Like, I'm really interested in that family navigator. So you said that you have
patient navigator.
The patient
Yeah.
navigator. You have training for them.
Yes, we do.
So where does that take place?
The training takes place at different areas. So if there were 4 or 5 people that needed to be trained in Putnam, we would do it here. If there were one person from Putnam and 4 or 5 people up, you know, in Dutchess, we might do it at the Vassar Center. So
Okay.
we kind of coordinate what needs to be done and take it from there.
Right.
But I'll tell you, when I did, you know, patient navigation on a regular basis when it first started, and it's very rewarding. Very, very rewarding. And it just, you know, you start out, and I remember this one little man, and he's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And then I just said, but you know, and all of a sudden he just was like, okay, I really need, you know, people are scared, and they don't, nobody should have to fight this disease alone.
That's
Now,
what we say.
That's right.
And another thing, yeah.
Nobody should have
That's
to
right.
fight any disease
That's
alone.
right.
Another great thing that we have, we try not to duplicate services with other people, you know, so the American Cancer Society is very efficient, and we'll look around and we'll say, okay, you know, this already exists as a
Right.
service,
Right.
so let's work on that.
Got it.
We found that folks need to travel to treatment. You know, even here, you know, if folks go into the city, but all throughout the country, you can live in a state that's very remote, and you can't get cancer care where you live. So we have 32, and we're constantly looking to grow and build Hope Lodges. Now, we do have one in New York City. A Hope Lodge is a place that you can go free of charge with your caregiver, and you can stay there for the duration of your treatment.
Wow.
Now, you work it out with your social worker at the hospital. You know, it's not like we just pick them.
Right.
It's a system, but they're so beautiful. We've had people from Putnam, because it's over 55 miles
Oh, okay.
to treatment, that had to go to Hope Lodge because they had 6 weeks of daily treatment. So it's you go. It's a communal kitchen. Nate Burkus actually did the lobby,
I see.
so it's real fancy and very welcoming. But while you're there, you come down in the morning, and you get a bus to the hospital. You go back. You have lunch. There's support groups. You can get a wig. You can have access to all our programs there. There's counseling there,
That's
and
amazing.
we maybe get somebody who's stayed there to come on and talk about it, because
be a great idea.
it's really just one of the most, at the worst time in your life,
Right.
one of the most uplifting
Right.
experiences.
Because there's support.
And something else, we also contract with different hotels, like Extended Stay America, where you can get a suite kind of room. They save some. It's $12 a night, $15 a night.
That's-
You know,
that's great.
so really,
Huge.
I know when I brought my father down to Sloan Kettering, I think they charge us $750 for the hotel room across the street.
A night?
Yeah, that's when I realized I really didn't like Leona Helmsley.
Right. Yeah.
You know, one night, that was the bill. He said, how much was it? I said, nothing.
Right.
you know, but you shouldn't
shouldn't
not
have to.
go for
That's
treatment
right,
because you can't afford to
That's
stop.
absolutely right.
You know, so
It's an amazing organization.
Well, it's important that, you know, like I remember when this was just, you know, people referred to it as the big C.
That's right.
And so we see what happened with cancer.
That's right.
And that's kind of the leap we have to make with addiction.
That's right.
It always comes,
Thinking about that.
for
Yep.
me, it always comes back
That's
to
right.
addiction because it's a disease as is
right.
cancer.
Yes, it is.
And actually, many of the models you were talking about are trying to be implemented through Oasis, like the Family Navigator, which
So you and I will chat offline about how to get that going.
Yeah.
Because I do agree with you. And
it's very important that
we're
people
losing
are,
too many people. No one should have to fight anything like this alone.
No, that's right.
And
because people are
caregivers.
suffering.
That's
Caregivers.
We can end this by saying, no matter what the disease is, it's a big look.
That's right.
Caregivers bear a burden, and they need help, and they need a place to turn, and they need respite. In fact, at the Relay for Life in Mayapack this year, it's going to be the year of the caregiver. We're really going to
that's great.
honor them, and you know, we've had honorary chair people who were survivors before, but it's time that the caregiver be acknowledged for the role that they play.
Right.
So,
maybe we'll put a team together.
well, I would love that. Don't
Yeah.
get me. This year, it's actually about decades. So we're from music decades,
Yep.
TV decades,
Yep.
to what the American Cancer Society has done by decades. But once you say that to me, you're going to have me back because you only need to ask me once.
Absolutely.
You know, as long as cancer can
Absolutely.
still bring us to our knees, but I
It
get
sure
back up.
can. That's
Yep.
right.
Like you feel. We
That's
have
right.
3 very determined ladies in
Right.
these
Yeah,
chairs.
to get
so.
back up.
That's right.
Right.
That's
So,
right. Because
there we
what do they say? It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up.
You got that.
And on that note, it was great having
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Really,
you.
thank you very much. You'll come back.
Thanks
and
for
if you do
coming.
a team,
Thank you.
I'm on it.
You're on
All
my
right.
team.
I'm on
You have
your
to be
team.
on
I'm
my
always
team,
on
honey.
your team, my
What's
friend.
the day?
This year, June 3rd in Mayapack, June 10th in Patterson.
June 3rd it would
June
be.
3rd. Okay,
Keep the
so
date.
put on
Put
our
on your
calendar.
calendar.
June
Thank
3rd,
you.
Relay
June
for
3rd.
Life, drug crisis in our backyard. Call her and let's get on the team.
Sounds great.
Thank you very much. Thank